Oh my God.
How now?
Yes!
Hi,
Perfect.
friends. How are you?
Oh my God. How did you get that on such short notice?
What are you talking about?
My mother stitched this for us.
Really pretty.
We spent
guys.
all night working on this.
Means
Yes.
a lot to me.
Perfect.
I adore it. You guys look gorgeous.
Thank you, Brooke. Thank you, friend.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're excited.
We're still talking about Quakerism, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God. You guys,
Actually,
I love the spirit.
Love
Today
it.
we're talking about Tony Hawk.
Football, basketball.
Well, Brooke, you don't always have to be a star.
I know, but you do if you are going to be in the biggest boy band in the world. I gotten so worked up that I had thrown up on myself in my stroller. In my 14-year-old self, I said, those are hot men. And look at them now. They're like babies. That was kind of just like a casual interest, which I guess maybe a little bit more than casual. Okay, so for audio listeners only, Kenny and Izzy are doing pilgrim garb right now, which is really special in honor of today's episode, which is going to be about Quakerism.
Woo!
Good morrow.
Good morrow.
How now?
Hello, friends.
Quakers and pilgrims are different. I say, having gone to Quaker school for 14 years. I think they're different, but there's definitely a cousinship
Yeah, they
among
are.
them based off of the outfits that I'm seeing.
Yeah, I
Yes.
think they are descendants of the
They're
same
descendants.
thing, but I think
By definition,
I don't.
a pilgrim. Because I'm just thinking of the people that came on the Mayflower. A person who journeys to a sacred place for religious experiences.
Oh.
Okay. A pilgrim is a traveler who is on a journey to a holy place. Okay, so I'm a pilgrim on my way to the 1975 concert.
That's what's up.
What it means. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So you can kind of, I thought pilgrim was specific to that time period. But Quakers can be pilgrims.
Yeah.
I guess
think it's
anyone can be a pilgrim.
Yeah. I think Quakers are more into God.
Quakers are a religion, which we will get into. But just off of Google Images, you guys did nail it from, according to this picture right here on regensburgforum.com.
The original Reddit.
Yeah. History, philosophy, and the theology of the Augustinian tradition.
Very good.
Yep.
Wow.
Look at those Quakers.
Those are handsome guys.
Yep. You guys nailed it. Okay, welcome back to Obsessed, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. As we said, we are going to do an episode on Quakerism today because I've recently found myself in kind of a nostalgic space to be really reflecting on. Sorry, forgive the mucus that's been in my throat for a month and a half. That's hot. Okay. I found myself in a space to be reflecting on Quakerism recently. And that's what we're going to get into today. But I do, of course, have some housekeeping notes, as always. First thing we do have to discuss on this podcast, though I did get into it a bit on Obsessed yesterday. I'm just going to say the exact, no, what did I do yesterday? B and C yesterday. I do have to say the exact same thing here, as I've been saying to everybody that I come across for the past week. This is the first time we've been in the studio together, the three of us, since Jonathan won the Tony. How's everyone feeling? Yeah.
Honestly, really good. And I rewatched the episode that comes out before this one.
Uh-huh.
You said, I'm so happy for Jonathan. I'm so happy for Daniel.
Oh.
So that's all on
Oh
you.
my God. Wait, that's actually sad. Did I not say I'm so happy for Lindsay? She didn't win. That's really scary.
That power, yeah.
Next year.
Kenny, did you hear what I manifested on the plane?
No. What did you manifest on the
In my episode with Patrick, we were playing a game that we call it Married at First Sight. Do you know that show? Married at First Sight?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
Basically,
yeah.
the first time you meet your soon-to-be husband or wife is walking down the aisle.
Yeah.
So we play like, okay, this let's give you, like, I'll be like, okay, Zac Efron, you see Zac Efron at the end of the aisle. Are you A, like sprinting towards him, like you're so excited?
Yeah.
B, you're just going to trust the experts. Like you're not like over the moon, but you feel good and confident that over time you could develop,
Yeah.
an attraction. Or C, you're kind of sprinting the other way.
Okay.
So we were playing that game and I was like, oh, Nat Wolff. Do you know who that is?
Mhm.
Naked Brothers band, etc. And Patrick was like, oh, who's that? And we were kind of getting into the Nat Wolff of it all. Nat Wolff on our plane, Kenny.
I saw that on your story.
Nat Wolff on our plane.
Incredible.
And I'm going, Patrick. And he's going, what? And then I kept going, I forget what I was going to say. And Nat is like literally walking like down the aisle, standing next to us. And then I'm going, Patrick. And he's like, what? And I kept having to go, I forget what I was going to say. But still, even though I described in detail who Nat Wolff is and pulled up a picture for him, he couldn't grasp
click.
still
Oh, man.
who it was.
Wow.
But that was something that we manifested, I guess.
You have
too.
some serious power.
I do think I might be a witch. And I've always thought that.
Do you think that it has something to do with, you were saying Geminis had something exciting happening this summer? Do you think it's this new superpower?
That could be, Kenny, but I feel like this has been happening for a while.
Yeah.
And the Gemini superpower is specifically going to help me in my relationships.
Oh, great.
So, for example, I'll have a boyfriend
Yes.
by end of year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're on a roll. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
I find it a little bit frustrating that I can't manifest anything like for my personal self. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. Back to Jonathan. How's everyone feeling
Happy.
since his win?
Very happy.
Happy? Did everyone
Lighter.
see the speech?
Mm-hmm.
I did not.
Kenny, I want to encourage you and everyone to pause the episode
Yes.
and go watch Jonathan's Tony Award-winning speech.
Wow.
Because I'm not kidding, like people will talk about this for years and years. He made history, not only just like being him and winning and merrily roll along, like he made history with his speech.
Wow.
Because, and I can't stop saying this really, he has not lost 1 ounce of the joy that he has had since the first day that he started acting on Broadway, since the first day that he was in Spring Awakening, since the first day he got to New York from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. He still has that same sparkle in his eye that I would imagine he had when he was 3 years old, dressing up as Mary Poppins. And I love so many other people in this field, but you can tell that people become jaded. That's only natural and expected. I'm jaded as all hell, and I'm not even like a millionth of the star power that he is. But he has not. He's not like he has not lost like even the tiniest bit of that like excitement and twinkle in his eye, and he still is that 3-year-old boy dressing as Mary Poppins. It's like he is grateful every day that he steps onto that stage, and you can really see that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what makes his performances so special, and that's what people kind of see when they see him. Is just like he has not lost any of that gratitude, and he brings everything to each role. And I couldn't love him more. It's like really scaring me. Yeah. And so my life is now divided into pre-Jonathan winning the Tony and post-Jonathan winning the Tony. I also did see yesterday that there were a lot of influencers at the Tonys.
Interesting.
So that's definitely interesting.
Huh.
That's something that we didn't manifest despite our best efforts. So it's honestly a little bit comforting to know that the manifestation space has its flaws.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's not as dangerous as I had initially anticipated. So I guess kind of glass half full. I wasn't at the Tonys. Okay, I have something I need you to convince me that I need to buy. Because I found on TikTok there is a pocket-sized e-reader that looks like a phone. Sorry. Forgive me for that. Okay, look at this.
So this is my Books.
I can't stress enough that I haven't been able to think of one reason that I need this, but I'm asking you to come up with one reason why I need it. Because if there's one reason that you can give me, I will buy it right now. But I haven't found the reason yet, but I want it so bad. Okay?
Okay.
Palm e-reader. It's the size of my palm / a
like how the size of her palm.
Okay.
Okay.
phone, and it works just like a phone. It has the functionality of a phone, but it has the
It's a Kindle
screen
phone.
of a Kindle Paperwhite. So this is my Paperwhite, and this is my.
Notice the key differences there. They look like they're similar sizes, but they're actually couldn't be even more different,
Right.
right?
Right.
They are the same height, but my Kindle couldn't fit in my pocket, and that could fit in my pocket.
Oh.
So do you have this Kindle that she's
I have
holding?
the black one that she's holding up. So-
Okay.
yes. Here, let me show you my Kindle. Actually, that could be helpful.
Yeah.
So it's slightly slimmer so that it can fit in the pocket.
This could not fit in my pocket.
No.
Right.
Okay, I did just get this ghost pop socket that I'm really excited about. I've decided to go caseless right now because that feels right for me. But yeah, this is Alphaba, my Kindle. And so this is my Kindle. It is very small and light and fits in most things, but it doesn't fit in my pocket. Okay?
Right.
Keep that in mind as we navigate this video.
Okay.
As you can see, they both have that paper-like
Yep.
screen.
And that's
but
so
the
important
difference
for your
is
eyes.
Kindle is
Yeah.
a very specific product that allows you to read just Kindle, which is Amazon
Right.
product, ebooks, e-readers. Whereas the Boox Palma is very specifically an all-in-one device. Think of
All-in-one
it as
device.
like a phone without data. But as long as you connect to the internet, you have access to download all of these apps. I have Wattpad, Fanfiction, Audible.
So that would be
Okay.
like if I read fan fiction now,
Mhm.
that would be a no-brainer.
Do you think if you got this, you'd be reading fan fiction again?
That's a good question. Here's why I don't read fan fiction now. One, I can't log it on my Goodreads. And that has become like I used to be so obsessed with having physical copies of books because like my brain needed to show that this is my catalog. Like this is what I've read. Like here is my progress in a physical form. Like my brain needed that. If I read a book on a Kindle, I'd have to buy the paperback too. Now I feel like Goodreads is that. So I could read a book on a Kindle and not need the paperback because I'm showing all my progress cataloged on Goodreads.
Right.
But I wouldn't feel like I could add, even if like I added it myself, which I think you can technically do on Goodreads, is like add a fan fiction and like add it to your read. I wouldn't feel, it wouldn't count to me.
Yeah.
Even though I know that's like stupid, that is just unfortunately how my brain is working right now. So I cannot read fan fiction, one, because I can't log it on my Goodreads. Two, if I was reading fan fiction, it would be like ACOTAR. And I wouldn't want to read that world that wasn't written by Sarah J. Maas because it would confuse me and I would be wondering like, is this even what she wants? Like, I don't know. It just wouldn't. I don't know. For some reason, it's just not working for me right now.
Right.
So that's why I don't read fan fiction. And if I did, I would be purchasing this.
Okay.
But we don't have that reason.
I can go on AO3 on a web browser
Right.
and read AO3. I have all different types of apps downloaded on here. As long as it's available on the Google Play Store, you can use it on here. Someone did ask.
Like I could.
Oh my
She's
God.
going on TikTok on this.
Wow.
I can't justify buying this to go on TikTok because I have my phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How would I like watch TikTok on here? I don't often
Right.
do it, but I do.
Oh.
have
But
it
you
downloaded on
could.
here, and it's the same. It's just black and white. And
I could buy this just to go on Book Talk.
Yeah. It did glitch though on there.
It did
which
glitch.
Could
That's
be a
good.
problem.
Thank you.
Lacking color.
I also could just use my phone. Too.
Yeah.
it looks kind of like you're reading a piece of paper. Not only does it have
Mm-hmm.
all of the functionality that the Kindle app includes when it comes to like text adjustments, but it also has additional functionality like high contrast on. So
Yeah.
I have that turned on right now
Oh,
because
cool.
I like the text to be a little more bold.
Right.
It has light filter, dark filter, optimization.
Anyway, this is 4 minutes long.
I would say the Paperwhite is about 1.5 times.
Okay, that's a good size
of the
comparison.
Palma, but
Yeah.
otherwise, the size is the same.
Okay.
And the weight is
Size is the
probably
same.
just
Weight
about
is the same.
I would say the reading on the screens is identical. I
Okay.
would not see it. To be able to use multiple platforms of reading. The note
So basically, I want it really bad, is the moral of the story.
Yeah.
But I can't think of a reason that I need it. So I'm
Yeah.
asking you to think of a reason that I need it so that I can buy it guilt-free. Should I
Want a
just...
good cop, bad cop it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Which one will you be playing?
I can be bad cop because I do have one point that I want to make.
Okay.
I can go.
Brooke, you've earned it.
Hell yes,
I
Kenny.
think you need to treat yourself.
I need to treat myself.
It's halfway to Christmas. You got to wait another
Yep.
6 months.
Yep.
So pull the trigger.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that.
I support you.
I love it, Kenny.
Yes.
Okay.
Izzy, what's your point?
Here's my point.
I don't want to hear it, but what's your point?
I have to give it to you. So, do you keep your phone in your pocket now?
Sometimes.
Really?
Yes. Sometimes I do, Izzy.
Brooke? Okay.
If it's not my
Okay.
Agu medium crescent.
Okay. You might be debunking me then, because I was going to say, if you don't keep your phone in your pocket, you could just keep your Kindle in your
I have
bagoo.
actually bad news
Oh no.
that I just discovered. This fits in my pocket.
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
sucks.
Mm-hmm.
I think you still need it.
I know. I agree.
Your other pocket's empty.
Literally,
You
I
gotta
could double
even
bag it.
Yeah, double
Yeah.
yeah, double bag it.
I maybe should just honestly, if I read fan fiction, Brittany needs that.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Yeah.
amazing to have a Kindle that you could just have easy access to fan fiction on, because it's very difficult to get it on this. You would have to convert it on your computer to a certain document, put it in a program, and then plug your Kindle in,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
who wants to do that this day and age? But maybe I'll get over myself and start reading fan fiction just so I can buy the handheld, because it's so pretty to me.
I mean, it's cool too that you're not tied to just Kindle.
I
you
would
can get
literally
other
throw my
apps.
phone away just to use that as my phone.
We have to communicate through fan fiction.
Yep, just you can reach me on my pocket-sized Kindle. Me slacking you from my pocket-sized Kindle. Okay, that's that. Jury is still out. I'd love to hear from you guys about 6 to 8 reasons why I need the pocket-sized Kindle. So let us know. The person to convince me gets a special treat. Okay. Here's the deal, and here's why we are here today. I just finished a book. I think I had mentioned that I was going to start reading this on BNC a while ago. It was called Idlewild, and it was about these 2 girls that grew up going to a Quaker school. And basically the blurb on the back just really reminded me of my experience growing up in a Quaker school. And, they were big on writing fan fiction was a big part of the book. Having an infatuation with gay men was a big part of the book. So this book really drew me in, and I finished it, and I am finding myself really just in awe of this book and how much I related to it. But also just thinking about if I hadn't gone to a Quaker school and had these experiences that I related to, how kind of wild it seems as an outsider, kind of the experiences of going to a Quaker school. And I know that a lot of you probably don't even know what that is or what that means. So I want to talk about that today. I loved this book, and I want to read you my Goodreads review because I was really proud of it. Hey guys, we're going to take a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, SeatGeek. Summer's officially here, and it's the perfect time to start exploring your city's events and getting out of the house. Ever since Please, 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 I'm just dying to see Sabrina Carpenter. That's why I need to tell you about my special hookup from today's sponsor, SeatGeek. Everyone can use my code OWB10 and get 10% off any tickets on SeatGeek, whether you're a new customer or not. Sports, concerts, festivals, you name it. There are so many artists touring right now, including Billie Eilish, Sabrina Carpenter, Hozier, Noah Kahan, and Zach Bryan, and SeatGeek has you covered. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so look for the green dots. Green means good, red means bad. Every ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee, and SeatGeek is the only site that lets you return your tickets ahead of the event with swaps. No matter how many times you've bought tickets using SeatGeek before, OWB10 is going to get you 10% off your next order. So take out your phone, open the SeatGeek app, and add code OWB10 to your account. What are you waiting for? Do it now because this offer is only available for a limited time. Hey guys, we're taking a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Squarespace. I love Squarespace because it's the user-friendly platform that allows people and businesses to create a professional website without the need for technical knowledge or coding skills. Whether you're just starting out or managing your growing brand, Squarespace makes it easy to create, sell, and engage with your audience all in one place. You can start a completely personalized website with a new guided design system, Squarespace Blueprint. Choose from professionally curated layouts and styling options to build a unique online presence, tailored to your brand or business and optimized for every device. Then, easily launch your website and get discovered fast with integrated, optimized SEO tools. So you show up more often to more people and grow the way you want. You also have the option to sell content with Squarespace. Just add a paywall to sell memberships, courses, and files your customers can download, like PDFs, music, or ebooks. If you're not looking to sell, try their video collection. Upload video content, organize your video library, and showcase your content on video pages. You can even add a paywall to your content to sell access to your video library. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/OWB to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That's squarespace.com/OWB to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. And I also really I want your help developing like a star system for my books, because I gave this 4 stars, which I think doesn't make any sense. Because I'm thinking about it still. It really impacted me. I enjoyed reading it. And I just gave it 4 stars because like there were some moments I was bored and I felt like it was too long and like some chaotic moments. But it's not making sense to me that I gave this 4 stars and like it really affected me. And I also gave the Bridgerton book that I read and enjoyed 4 stars, which like I don't remember anything that happened in that, but I enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm like, should I like rate things based off of the category that they're in? Like Bridgerton was 4 stars for kind of like a cheesy romance. And this was 4 stars kind of in the literary fiction genre, which has higher standards. Or should I scale it just based off of quality of the book in general? Is that making any type of sense?
Yeah.
It does, yeah.
I think it's subcategory, like your tier list. Like, I think there's books that, or like with people, like you want to be in a room with someone, but like you also wouldn't say they're like tier 1 sometimes. I think.
Yeah.
So it's break it up like that.
Kind of reminds me of like weighted GPA. You know, you have your academic classes.
Yeah.
That, A- in that class is a lot more beneficial to you getting into college than getting an A- in like ceramics, an elective class. So I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. How do I integrate that?
Oh, shoot.
Or should I
Maybe in
just
your
literally
app.
just say like, I can just put out a blanket statement like I'm rating things based off of, I'm rating things for what they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I'm rating the Bridgerton book, which I enjoyed, but obviously it was not anywhere near as impactful as this book. I'm rating that 4 stars because I enjoyed that for what it was. I enjoyed it for a Regency romance book. And this, I think I'm going to change this to 4.5. But you know,
I was gonna say,
you know the deal with Goodreads.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. But I'll specify in the comments. This is 4.5, even though it's objectively like doesn't even compare to the Bridgerton book, just because I'm rating it in the literary fiction category. Hope that makes sense to everyone. It does stress me out a little bit, which is another reason why Goodreads just needs a space to let you add all those type of details. So
I'm
please,
really surprised they haven't
please. I know it's like it's sick. I really need to find an app developer to work alongside with. Apparently, there's this app called Fable that people have been telling me to check out.
Oh,
have you heard of that?
People DM me that. And
I
they were like,
know.
show this to Brooke. I was like, I'm sure.
We should let's circle back to Fable at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna read you my review. There is one line that I wrote that gave me goosebumps personally.
Wow.
I gave myself goosebumps. Let me know if you can flag my goosebumps walk away line. Okay. Here I go reading. I'm making myself cringe right now, but I'm reading my review. Okay. Ew, actually, I'm not going to read my review because it's making me feel uncomfortable.
Do you want Kenny to read it?
Yeah.
Can
Kenny,
you
how about
zoom in?
read
I
my
have-
review.
Yeah, I would love to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pull it up here.
That might be worse though.
Oh, yeah.
Give me the first sentence.
Sure. I've never
Nope.
read
Okay. Basically, the part that gave me goosebumps that I'll read is I said, Okay, speaking more generally, I love the way that high school relationships and emotions were portrayed as the be-all, end-all, because at that age, it really, truly felt that way. I've never felt more alive or more at risk of dying than I did at play practice or eye-chatting my crush, and this book got that. So I was feeling very poetic with the...
That's really good.
Yeah, goosebumps walk away. Yeah, so this book really kind of captured that feeling of just like everything being like the most intense, like life-threatening experience in high school. And I'm changing it to 4.5 stars because I really find the author to be a genius. Okay, so let's get into the Quaker school of it all, shall we?
Yes, please.
Do you guys know anything about Quakers and Quaker schools?
Not Quaker schools, but we did our
We
research.
did a little bit
Oh
of
my God,
research.
tell me what you know.
Go ahead.
Well, in preparation,
Yes,
getting dressed today,
yes.
I put my breeches on, and I realized I had them on RC Varsity, which is backwards
Okay.
in colonial speak. So that was one thing that actually came in handy, phrase-wise, that I looked up this morning.
Yes.
I also learned that the guy on the front of the Quaker Oats,
The young man.
yes, the young man is not William Penn.
Is it George? It's not George Fox, is it?
It's just a
random guy.
fictional character.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I guess that is the longest standing mascot on food that we have here in the U.S.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Pretty cool. Yeah.
I feel like when most people think of Quaker, they think of the oats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 What else? A cat is called a mouser
In the old language?
in
of
the old
Quakerism?
language. This is just 17th century English. Speak.
Okay.
I don't even know if Quakers say this shit. So
I don't think like present day Quakers do, but it definitely is nice to know that they did in the
I'm going back to
18th
contemporary.
century.
Yes. Yeah. What else? Izzy, what did you find?
Well, these outfits, they don't wear them anymore.
right.
Mhm.
But it's called plain dress because there is like too much going on that you just wear plain clothes.
Mm-hmm.
And that means like you're closer to God. But there was one female Quaker, and I'm blanking on her name, but
I
she,
probably don't know it.
yeah, she said that it's basically, to paraphrase, it's dumb to not dress in colorful clothes because God made everything so colorful in the world.
That's pretty.
But then she basically got like kicked out. So
Oh.
Damn.
Okay. Damn. Well, power to her, and
yeah.
in the end, she was right. So really appreciate everything she did. Okay. Surprisingly, I don't know too much about like the actual history of Quakerism, despite going to a Quaker school for 14 years. Because truly all the Quaker education that we had was a Quakerism class in 8th grade and a Quakerism class maybe junior and senior year. And we learned the same thing both years. And what we learned was the spices, which is basically like the main pillar of Quakerism and Quaker education. And that is kind of the tenets that Quakers live by, which is simplicity, peace, SP, integrity, courage, equality. What was the first S? Simplicity. Like you were saying. Okay. Fuck, shit, I thought I knew it. S-C, Seren. So, no. It's simplicity, peace, integrity. Oh, community. So it's actually not courage at all. Community, equality, and stewardship. Okay, that is what we learned both years in Quakerism, and kind of the only takeaway that I have about Quakers mostly, except for that it was also Quakerism was founded by George Fox, who also wore breeches.
Oh,
Kenny,
fantastic.
because there was a song that we sung. In his old leather breeches and his shaggy, shaggy locks, I am walking in the glory of the light, said Fox.
Wow.
That's pretty. So he was wearing his old leather breeches just like you, Kenny.
These are so common. These are just like joggers, basically.
Yeah, it's basically old-time joggers.
Yeah.
So George Fox was wearing his breeches, spices. Quakerism is technically a branch. It is a religion, and it's technically a branch of Christianity, which is interesting because I would say 80% of my school and also the school in the book, which is interesting, was Jewish. I think because like a key piece of Quakerism is like basically liberalism, just like being very peaceful and welcoming and diverse. And I think that has a lot in common with like secular Jews. And also it was very like academically rigorous, not to Jewish stereotype, but also I'm Jewish, so I can do it, I guess, what I want. But yeah, so a lot of Jews were at Quaker schools. So it's not like, I think you can be Jewish and Quaker at the same time. But I always get confused. Like I know like a religious Jew would be like, no, you can't be. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
But Quakers, literally all you have to do to be considered a Quaker is go to Quaker meeting, which is like one of, I think the biggest part of Quakerism is meeting for worship. And that is like what I think about most fondly about Quakerism is sitting in moments of silence. So at our school, we had a 45-minute meeting for worship. Sorry, the mucus is back. We had a 45 meeting for worship every Wednesday, first thing in the morning, where we would sit in silence as a whole school. So like the whole lower school, that was K through 4th, we would sit together. And then the whole middle school that was 5th through 8th. And the whole high school that was 9th through 12th. We would all sit together in the meeting room. And if we were moved by the light of God, which is present in everyone, okay? Everyone has an inner light. Then you would stand up and share. And there's no like guidelines to what it is. And I'm not religious, but I think the most religious I've ever been was the one time that I stood up in meeting for worship. Because they say like, you know when you have to stand up. It's not like something that you think about the night before you fall asleep. I guess like it theoretically could be, but like in most cases, like you know when you're moved. Mm-hmm. And I was always like, I'll never stand up in meeting for worship. Like that is just like not the kind of person I am. But there was one day where I was sitting there and all of a sudden like my heart started beating so fast. I started getting like so nauseous and my hands were sweating and I was like, oh my God, like I have to speak. Which is so crazy because like that's not something I would have wanted or did want. But like you just know it when you feel it. Like it really is like it exists. And so that really is, I think, one of the, I don't know where I stand with God now, not to get really deep. But in that moment, I was like, oh, I think I do like believe in God because I was so called to stand up. You might be wondering, oh, Brooke, what did you say? Kind of horribly embarrassing. Basically, the day before, my French teacher told us that we would get like 2 points of extra credit if we brought in a book that she had asked us to bring in. And she was like, just hold up your book and I'll give you the extra credit. And so I did not bring in the book, but I also thought that she would not notice if I held up a different book and I kind of just like held it to the side and was like casually just like holding it like, oh, hey, here's my book. And, she was definitely a character, my French teacher. And so she hobbled over to the honor code that was on the wall and ripped it off of the wall and then slowly hobbled back over to me and just held it in front of me and had me read the honor code, which was also detailing the spices. Okay, so I was not doing the spices right then in that moment when I held up the wrong book. And I was literally, I think like at my core, I was so embarrassed because I didn't really get in trouble. But my reaction, like I was so mad at her because I was like, that is so embarrassing. Like, I was just like going on all day about how mad I was at her and just like how much I didn't like her and just like, I was just so angry. And then I got home and I was telling my mom about it. And she was basically like, I think you're angry because you know that you did something wrong and you're embarrassed. And I was like, how dare you? And then I guess the next day meeting for worship, that kind of was like really sitting with me. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Like, I think I was embarrassed. And basically, like, when I was going on these rants about how annoying she was, I was like, I'm such a good student. Like, I never do anything wrong. Like, why is she just calling me out for this? Like, I don't deserve this, blah, blah, blah. And I basically stood up and was like, I shouldn't be holding myself to, like, those kinds of standards. I should be holding myself to the standards that, like, I have for myself. And that wasn't that, blah, blah, blah. Didn't really make any sort of sense. I was kind of rambling. But I was very called to stand up and speak. And I had a very tender, touching moment with my French teacher after that. So I look back on that moment fondly, even though it was a little bit embarrassing. Yeah, and shout out to my French teacher. We are all good now. She just posted on my Facebook wall, happy birthday in French. So
That's so sweet.
that is really sweet.
Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did have some moments at Meeting for Worship that I will think about for the rest of my life. A lot of people, and this is also in the book that I just read, there's also, I would say, a lot of like 60% Jewish people at Quaker schools, and also maybe like 50% is gay. And I think this just is like because Quaker schools are just like very inclusive and all about diversity. And so a lot of people used Meeting for Worship to come out. And that was like everyone, like in high school especially, and people got really excited for when people would come out.
Wow.
Yeah. And I told this on BNC. Oh, Izzy, I think this was even before you came to us. But one day one of our teachers stood up. His kids went to my school, and we knew them, and we knew like his wife and everything. And so he stood up and was like, this has been weighing on me for all of my years teaching here. And I just feel like I've been hiding such a key part of myself, and I want to be myself with you. And everyone's like on the edge of their benches, because like this is how everyone kind of starts to come out at Meeting for Worship. And he's like, I have not been my authentic self. There's a piece of me that I finally want you all to know. And we were like, oh my God. And he, Mr. C, said, you can call me Mike. And if you take Spanish, you can call me Miguel. And if you take French, you can call me Michele. So, and then he sat down and everyone was so pissed off. Because obviously we thought he was coming out, but he said he was coming out as Mike.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
So that is something that most Quaker schools have you call your teachers by their first names. Because there's like a very casual relationship between you and your teachers, which at my school and also in this book kind of got a lot of teachers and students in trouble, because it's like there's way too many blurred lines. But Mike was actually the first one that we really started to call by his first name.
Yeah.
I don't know why at my I don't know why at my school that took so long. But then after Mike, a lot of other teachers started letting us call them by their first name. So that was exciting for him to kind of break down that barrier for everyone. There was also an incident where this one girl stood up, and she was someone that everyone was like kind of scared of. I think I was a freshman when she was a senior. And she stood up and she was like kind of like shaking with anger. And she was like, I was pulling into school this morning and this teacher cut me off. And, you know, instead of like apologizing, she just kind of like yelled at me through the window. And like, I'm not going to say her name, but like, she's such a bitch. And then the headmaster, who there's something called a facing bench, which is a bench that's in front of the meeting house that faces everybody else. And like, sometimes you would get tapped to sit on it, and it was the worst thing ever because like everyone was looking at you. But the headmaster was sitting on the facing bench, and he was about 98 years old. And he like stood up, but so slowly. And it felt like it took him a year to stand up. And he was like shaking, pointing his finger out. And he was like, don't you ever curse in my meeting house. And then sat back down, and she was still standing. And everyone is just like witnessing history, truly. And she's still standing, and it's like, well, I guess the message here is don't let this get to you like it got to me. and then sat down, and everyone is just like, oh my God, like reeling. And then 8 seconds later, while some people are cracking up, some people are like head in their hands. Like I was just like completely what's that word? Aghast. I was completely agog. And 8 seconds later, this other girl stands up and is like, well, my grandpa's dying. And my poor friend Lauren was still laughing so hard at the bitch incident. And so dead grandpa girl looks at her and goes, it's not funny. Hey guys, we're taking a quick break to thank a sponsor of today's episode, Nutrafol. Summer's finally here. That means more days spent outside at the park, on the beach, or in the pool. Make sure you're taking extra care of your hair this summer since sun, salt, and SPF can all affect your hair health. Now is the perfect time to start taking Nutrafol. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement with over 1 million people seeing thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding. Everyone's root causes of hair thinning are different, so a one-size-fits-all approach to hair growth doesn't cut it. Nutrafol has multiple formulas that are tailored to give your hair what it needs to grow throughout different stages. With Nutrafol, building a hair growth routine is simple. Purchase online, no prescription required. Their free shipping and automated deliveries ensure you'll never miss a day. See results in 3 to 6 months. Get results you can run your fingers through. For a limited time, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off your first month subscription and free shipping when you go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code OWB. Find out why over 4,500 healthcare professionals and stylists recommend Nutrafol for healthier hair. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code OWB. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code OWB. Which only made everyone laugh more. And so then she started sobbing because of her grandpa. But everyone was still on bitch. And so she sat down in the middle of her speech about her grandpa. And that was tough for her. But at the same time, like, why on earth would you not even give bitch a beat to kind of settle on the crowd?
Let the body cool for a sec.
Yep. A few more incidents in Meeting for Worship. There was, at the beginning of my junior year, maybe someone broke a bench, which like is not a big deal, but for whatever reason, like it really went against the spices to break the bench and not own up to it. And so literally every morning when we had assembly, the teachers would be like, and now is your last chance to fess up to breaking the bench. Because I guess it was some sort of special bench. Who knows? And that like went on for months about the bench. And like, it was just like every day it was like, here's your last chance. No, here's your last chance. No, today is your last chance to fess up to breaking the bench. And then on the last day of this girl's senior year, she stood up and was like, I broke the bench.
Wow.
And that to everyone was just like, oh my God. And so that girl will forever live as the bench breaker, which just like sucks. Like, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, it's your last day. I wouldn't want to go out on that note. But that was another instance. I remember the meeting house being in complete disarray. Yeah.
What happens when someone says something like that? Like, everyone starts talking to each other?
It's kind of, you could just kind of hear gasps, collective gasps. And I thought that was going to be an instance where a teacher would say something, but I think like, what could they do? She was in college. It was her last day.
Yeah.
So honestly, kind of like power move.
Yeah.
I might honestly do that because the guilt would be eating me alive, but I also wouldn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I would have fessed up to it right away because like she wasn't going to get in trouble for breaking the bench. Like they just wanted a confession.
Yeah.
How did she break the bench? Did she sit on it?
I think like she probably just sat on it and it broke. Like it's not, I don't know why the fixation with the bench.
Yeah.
Like that the teachers had, but it was, I think it represented something bigger to them. So God bless the bench. There was also this young man who insisted on walking around school barefoot. And I guess just because of, the nature of Quaker schools really wanting you to be able to express yourself and your individuality, no one said anything. But he was like so annoying and it was like disgusting, quite frankly. And he stood up at Meeting for Worship without shoes one day. And so I was like focusing on that, which was like horrible. And somehow I missed, because I was looking at his feet because they were disgusting me. He professed his love for one of the teachers.
No. He's a student?
He's a student. Is he? He was in my class. We had her next.
It wasn't Mike.
It wasn't Mike.
Oh
Nope.
my God.
But he, it was like pretty heartfelt, and he did not get in trouble because he was, that was his inner light, and he was speaking from the heart. And the class next period was incredibly uncomfortable. Everyone was staring at him and also our teacher, and no one said anything. But the next week, a different guy professed his love for the same teacher. But he was like, she's so hot.
No.
He took a different route and didn't do like the heartfelt, like, I'm in love with you. And he got suspended. So definitely interesting. And then I think like he was appealing to the student. He was like basically like he was just trying to like start something, this kid.
Yeah.
But he was like going on this rant about how it's not fair that he got in trouble because he was also just speaking from the heart, that she was hot. That was his inner light. But he did not quite get away with that. So in the book that I read, he would have gotten away with that. This Quaker school was a little bit more lax, which was fun to read about. But our school definitely he did get in trouble, which I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Last meaningful worship thing is there was also this girl who was really interested in a career in entertainment, who would do stand-up routines.
No.
Yeah, full stand-up routines. And one day she brought her diary from middle school and read an excerpt on how she had a crush on this boy that was also in the room. And she would literally, I'm not kidding, meaningful worship was 45 minutes. She would do a full 10-minute set each week. And then I heard through the grapevine that teachers had been meeting like about what to do about her. Because it's like, this is not, like, clearly she wasn't moved by her inner light. She was just kind of practicing her routine and kind of wanting to get something out of the crowd. So she completely stopped standing up at one point, and I would assume, I don't know, I would assume she got talking to.
Every week.
She was doing open mics at Meaningful Worship.
That's crazy.
Which, like, God bless her.
Yeah.
You know?
Got to test out the material.
Yeah. God bless her. Also, sorry, I keep saying this is the last one, but then I keep remembering other things.
These are so good.
There was at one point I was laughing so hard at one of these teachers that just like I couldn't help but make fun of, unfortunately. And he had stood up and he said something funny, and I was laughing to the point I was shaking. My body was shaking. I was crying. And I saw, like, when we all shake hands at the end and we stand up, and I saw a teacher coming for me to yell at me. And I had to pretend that I was actually sobbing because I was so moved by what he had said. So I then spent time in this teacher's classroom after, just kind of, because she had thought I was so upset. She then completely changed her attitude and wanted to take care of me. Okay, so I actually had to spend my free period in her classroom with her consoling me because she thought I was devastated about, it was something like so fucking stupid. Like, someone stole something from his car, and I was like cracking up, and she thought that I was very profoundly affected by the theft.
Oh,
so that was a free period that I didn't get to see. So
That's really, really tough.
in the school, in the book, they did not get grades because a big part of Quakerism is like equality, and like there aren't any. You can't put a number on, that kind of work, and like we're not going to put a number on that because everything is, all of your work is good, But then you do find out at the end that like the teachers have been like keeping like numbered grades to submit to colleges. So it's like kind of the hypocrisy in that I also felt at my school, where they did give us grades, but they also were very much like, I don't know, it was this weird thing of like, no class is better than the other. But also it was so clear what the dumb classes and the smart classes were, because they don't do APs because that wouldn't be Quaker. but they so clearly divided up the classes by here are the dumb kids, and I was in that one for math, and here are the smart kids, and like they couldn't have made it any more obvious. So it was just like shit like that. It's like it would literally be better for everyone if you just like did APs and like made it less of a half and half divide, because that made us feel shitty. Like APs and like different leveled classes probably would have made us feel even like a little better for more options. And then they also, you know, in making the point that like you're all special, you all have your inner light, they also, and this pisses me off to this day, had an award ceremony senior year where they gave half of the kids awards for whatever type of achievement. And all of my friends got awards except for me. I didn't get an award. And how un-Quakerly is that?
Yeah.
You're going to talk to me for 14 years about how there's a light in everyone, but then tell me at the award ceremony that you're only recognizing the light in half of us right now. So that is something that sits with me. If you're going to do the whole equality thing, full send it. Okay? Because I still lose sleep over the award ceremony.
Oh.
And I don't say that for you to feel bad for me. I'm just saying that there is some hypocrisy in Quaker education with the grades and just like having favorites, i.e. award ceremony, while also saying that everyone's equal. So that is something that pissed me off about my education that I also saw in this book, which was kind of nice to commiserate about. Just like be open about it. I don't care if you have favorites, but just don't teach me about the spices for 14 years.
Pick a side.
You know?
Brooke, what award did you hope to win?
There was a lot of awards that were like, I didn't expect to win any of the academic ones. Because like I was a good student, but also like I was not in like the smart math class or like that kind of stuff. So I wanted one of the Dead People Awards, which was just like, I don't know, they like had old alumni that like have been dead for 400 years that had specific personality traits, and they would give someone an award if they had the same personality traits, like you remind me of this person kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like this person did something good and you embody those traits. And so a lot of my friends won those, and that's all I wanted was to be compared to one of those people who I didn't know who they were, because no one ever spoke about them until the award ceremony. But that hurt. Yeah. And I remember you got like something in the mail like a few weeks before the award ceremony so that your parents would know to come and show up. And I was checking the mail non-stop. And all of my friends got the letter. And so you know, it's not even like you're sitting there and you're like, ooh, like maybe they'll announce me, maybe they'll announce me. It's like, no, you know who's getting the awards because their parents are there and you saw the letter. So yeah, I would if anyone on the administration is listening, I would cut that part out. The award ceremony, I would cut that out if you really care about equality, but who am I to say anything? I'm just a little girl from Pennsylvania. Okay, another thing about Quaker schools is that we were very close with our teachers, and I think that's what really appealed to the parents when they sent their kids to at least my school, is that like you would have more of like a one-on-one relationship with your teachers. And especially the reason I went is because it was like more of like an emotional and social curriculum where your teachers were very focused on your emotional well-being, and I needed that as a child when I was carrying my trash can around with me in case I grew up. So that's why I went, and then eventually I just like was like, I'm not gonna leave, because it was a very special place despite all the shit that I'm giving it. So we did end up getting very close with our teachers, some in a way that was very positive and some in a way that I look back and I am like, that wasn't even like a little bit okay at all. And I think I told this on BNC, and I think Ryan yelled at me for something and maybe I didn't tell it. I don't know, but I'm going to tell it now. There was an incident on March 6th, 2014, where we had I'm like really scared that this teacher's going to hear it. I guess that's okay.
You can say it if we want, we can cut it.
Okay. On March 6th, 2014, this was senior year, and we had this teacher that was like the coolest teacher in school. Everyone wanted him. He was just like fun and just like kind of he got it. Like he was like, he knew how to interact with 17-year-olds. Like he just understood it. And so everyone wanted him, and me and like a good group of my friends got him for our lit class. And from day one, we were like really like fucking around with him because like we heard like, oh, he is like really the one that just kind of like, he is one of us, you know? So I would definitely say we did not take the class super seriously because he was our best friend. Why would we? We called him Papa. There was a lot of times that we just in the middle of class said, I'm gonna head out. You get it. And he was like, yeah, I mean, I get it. You can head out if you want. So there was definitely that level of casualness that was too casual because he was our teacher and we should have stayed in class. Didn't really do the reading, and I would be like, hey, just so you know, I didn't do the reading, which like I would never do to another teacher. I would at least fake it or spark notes. But like with him, I was like, oh no, like he's my buddy. Like he won't care if I didn't do the reading. Mm-hmm. And this was also like second semester senior year. So we were all just like completely over it. And he was like, I fully thought that he was like, loved us, like loved that we didn't do the reading. Cause why wouldn't he? Like, that's so like, we're just being so honest with him. Like, and what teacher wouldn't love that? And then we were doing Hamlet, and there's a character named Fortinbras, I think. Yeah. But he said Fartinbras. And so he lost the class that day. So he dismissed us because we couldn't get it together about Fartinbras. And then we had a pop quiz the next day, and one of the answers was about Fortinbras. And my friend raised her hand and was like, does spelling count? Because we were wanting to write out Fartinbras, obviously. And he was like, yes, spelling counts. So obviously we all still wrote Fartinbras and drew farting stick figures. And we got a 0 on the pop quiz, which was random. And it was at that moment I should have known, like, maybe it's not all fun and games. Like, maybe he doesn't like our attitudes towards this class. But that wasn't computing for me because I really truly just thought we were best friends. And so on the last day of class, this was like we had one trimester left, but this specific English class was done because we were moving on to like a different English class. What doesn't really matter. But school wasn't over, but this class was over. And keep in mind, I still had him for I took a sex class with him, a sexuality class with him. So I still had him. And one of my friends asked him before we left on the last day, and he was like, she said, are you going to miss us? And he was like, do you want to know the honest truth? And we were all like, yeah, of course. Like, tell us how much you miss us, like our best friend in the whole world. And he got very serious. And he was like, honestly, this has been the worst experience of my 30 years of teaching. If I could go, and I see this when I close my eyes, I know every word. If I could go back to the beginning of the year and find a way to get out of this experience and get out of this class, I sure as hell would have. This was such a disappointment. I wish I could give, then he named like 2 kids who did the reading. I wish I could give them all a refund for this experience. Like, you've ruined their experience. And he goes, I guess I have a part in it because I never said anything, which like now looking back, I'm like, no shit. Like, but it was basically, and it was 10 minutes long of us all having to sit there, and we were all paralyzed of him just being like, this has been the worst experience of my life, and I can't stand any of you, basically. And I'm not kidding. You guys, I would literally go home every day and be like, Mom, I love this teacher. Like, he's really my best friend. To think that people are mad at me, I have a really difficult time with anyway. But to think that someone has been mad at me for so long and I didn't know, I feel like embarrassed and stupid, and like everything was a lie on top of the already like I'm so upset because you're mad at me in general feeling. We walked out of that class, and he goes, I'll never forget, his parting lines were a Hamlet line, and he goes, and like Hamlet says, the rest is silence, because we were all dead fucking silent, and that was a crossword clue the other day, and I was beside myself. The rest is silence. Who said it? And I said, Hamlet. I know Hamlet said that.
No.
So we all kind of file out one by one. And this was my friend's birthday. That's why I know it was 3/6/14, March 6, 2014, because it was on her birthday and she was the closest with him out of all of us. We all walk out. I'm not joking. I burst into like heaving sobs, which caught the attention. His room was right next to the principal's office. Caught the attention of the principal. So then I had to go to the principal and like explain what had just happened. And he got in trouble basically and had to write, I don't know the extent of which he got in trouble, but obviously like he was spoken to. And he had to write us all individualized emails apologizing essentially. But the emails were like, so basically one of my friends, Lindsay, like went to talk to him after and was like, hey, like I think like this is why it upset a lot of people, because she was one of the ones that he offered to refund. And he was like, this is why it upset a lot of people. And his personalized email to her was like, dear Lindsay, Lindsay came to speak with me. And like to me, it was like, dear Sarah. Like he just like clearly didn't, it wasn't personalized, and yeah, did not end on a good note. But that is one of the downfalls of that kind of closeness that was sometimes expected with your teachers at this specific school. But other times it was great. But that was one of the moments that I look back on, and I was just like, there definitely needed to be some stronger boundaries at times.
Wow.
Yeah. And then there was another time that on a lighter note. And by the way, like don't be like, oh my God, like poor Brooke. I don't give a shit. Like we all look back on that and laugh now. But it was like very traumatic to have someone that you like really idolized kind of flip around like that. But looking back, like it's all crystal clear what had happened. But in 5th grade, we were super close with our social studies teacher and very invested in her personal life, which is like, I don't know if this was also normal at other schools, but like we knew everything about our teachers and like their home lives. And that was a topic of discussion that was freely on the table. And so this teacher we knew was a dancer. And we wanted to surprise her at one of her recitals. And we were in 5th grade. And so we told our parents, and our parents were in on it. And they organized, I think 2 parents brought us in 2 cars to go to her dance recital, which was in New Jersey. So it's not like it was like right around the corner. We trekked. We were in 5th grade and we trekked to go see her dance recital. We get there. She comes out. It's a pole dancing recital. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
How'd she do?
She's great. Oh my gosh, she was great. And that's the other thing about, like, she didn't care. She was like, thank you guys so much for coming. Yes, of course, we wouldn't miss it. I think the parents were just like, mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. But in the spirit of, like, liberalism, like, that, just like, that is, like, yeah, pop off,
yeah,
queen. So, love that.
Wow.
I will leave you with one last story, which was at an assembly where it was an emergency assembly that the headmaster had called, and we get in there and I'm sitting next to my friend Jen, who I get like the worst giggles with her. And the headmaster stands up and it's clearly like something horrible has happened. Like it's a very somber energy. He's very somber. He stands up and starts talking about how we've lost one of our own, a very important member of the community is no longer with us. And we're like, oh, fuck, like that sucks. Like what happened? And he says, I'm going to play a slideshow in memorandum of this very important figure in our or the pillar of our community. And we're like, okay, slideshow starts. It was the tree that stood in the middle of the campus had to be chopped down. So slideshow starts as the tree as a baby tree back in like 1800s. And then by the time that he started showing the pictures of just the tree's stump, Jen next to me, I felt her trembling. I couldn't look at her. I felt it. And then, once she starts shaking, like I'm toast. And she had left the venue. She left the room because she couldn't bear it. And then I had to leave shortly after. There was a music playing, like sad tribute music over photos, a photo montage of a tree stump. A pillar of our community has left us. A fucking tree stump. Like you can't make it up. Yeah, but in summary, those were some of the things that I just remembered from reading the book, because I feel like this book definitely highlighted the quirks and the kind of like weird things that came out of a Quaker education. But also, I do want to say I loved high school, and I loved the lower school too. I was there for 14 years. Middle school's iffy, but I don't think that has anything to do with the school in particular. I think that was just, middle school. I really would not have wanted to go anywhere else, and I would send my own kids to a Quaker school, because it really is. It kind of felt like going to camp almost, and it's just like very much like a family and a community there. Like the craziness of it all brought everyone together. And I don't think there's another place that would be so accepting of so much, and also would have really supported my anxieties at such a young age. I don't think many schools would have allowed me to carry around a trash can for as long as they did. So I did love it there. And I actually taught at a Quaker school too.
Oh.
Because my first year teaching, I was so miserable, and I was like, you know what, let's go Quaker mode. And then I was much happier.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I would love you guys to read that book, and maybe that will give you a little bit more insight of what those of us who went to a Quaker school kind of experience. And also, if you went to a Quaker school, it's so fucking fun to read and kind of just reminisce. So do you guys have any questions about Quakerism? I feel like I didn't really talk much about what Quakerism is, because honestly, to me, it's just a vibe.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle.
It's a lifestyle. It's the inner light in everyone. It's meeting for worship. It's equality essentially, but not really at all. And and it's the spices. So I love it, you guys. Yeah, I would definitely say Quakerism is a vibe.
I have to be honest, I completely misunderstood it. I've read in school about Puritanism, Calvinism, just the pilgrimage itself, and I think you conflate all these things. I thought Quakers were very uptight, like Puritans, or I don't know if I can name, because they're still around today, evangelicals.
Right.
There's a lot of I guess backwards thinking when it comes to tradition and stuff, but Quakers seems like the complete opposite. You can really be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, I think, and I could be wrong, but I know, we weren't allowed to wear camouflage or anything, because one of the main pillars is peace, and they're pacifists and very anti-war. So I think the Quakers were some of the first to protest not going to war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I think Quakerism is probably the most liberal religion.
Yeah.
Ever.
Damn.
I can't think of any that are more open and accepting. And anyone can be a Quaker. I was thinking about it last night, and I was am I a Quaker? Probably not, because I don't go to meeting for worship, but I genuinely think if I decided to go to meeting for worship, I could call myself a Quaker.
Yeah.
They just their arms are open, and you're welcome at any time, and you could always, if anybody's interested, you could always go to a meeting. Look up Quaker meeting near you. I think they're usually on Sundays. At my school and all the Quaker schools in the area, the meeting house was used for just any Quaker meetings on Sundays. So, yeah, if you're interested, I would definitely, that is the part I missed the most, and the part I took for granted was meeting for worship. Because looking back, that is a very beautiful thing. And I think that would be super beneficial for a lot of us to do now, is just sit in silence and kind of connect with that light. Yeah.
Have you, this is personal, but have you felt that light since you stood up in that meeting? Have you been feeling it in your life?
Oh, Kenny, that's deep. I love that. I don't think I've given myself the opportunity that Meaningful Worship provides you with to connect with the light. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't sat for 45 minutes and just thought. I'm either on my phone, watching something, reading a book, which is like why that's so powerful, because we don't do that. It's just like a time to fully disconnect to connect,
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think that one student was actually a Quaker. Like there were, I think, 90 kids in each grade probably, and only some of our teachers would like have considered themselves Quaker. But like, it just didn't, like none of us were Quakers and all of us were Quakers kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'd be super interested to know if like anybody since graduation has like gone to meeting and stuff. So, but that is something like I'd like to do in the next year is like go to, I don't know if they even have them out here. I know there's tons in Pennsylvania, but
I haven't seen any.
Yeah.
I was looking.
This is my first time hearing about it, honestly.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
Well,
Cool.
hope you guys learned something, and that was kind of nice and cathartic to share. And the book is called Idlewild, and it's by James Frankie Thomas, and I am changing my rating from 4 to 4.5/5 because the book did mean a lot to me, and it's sticking with me. So on that note, see you next week.
Yay.